The standard points to the hierarchy of controls described in the parent standard ISO 45001. Clause 8.1.2 of ISO 45001 identifies the hierarchy of controls to be applied to OHS risks as follows. First, seek to eliminate the hazard. If that can't be done, then substitute with less hazardous processes, operations, materials, or equipment. If substitution isn't an option, then use engineering controls and reorganization of work. If engineering and job design controls aren't available, then use administrative controls. Finally, if none of those controls are possible, use personal protective equipment. These control measures are designed to prevent the hazards from causing harm to the worker. Most psychosocial hazards cannot be entirely eliminated, with the exception of hazards related to work environment, equipment, and hazardous tasks. An example of this type of hazard is workplace violence. You can eliminate the potential for workplace violence by shifting to an online model of customer service so there is no physical interaction between workers and customers. However, this approach will not be practicable for many businesses, including brick-and-mortar retail stores. For the majority of psychosocial hazards, the most effective control measures are related to the design of work, so they are roughly equivalent to engineering controls. Work design control measures can reduce the likelihood of the hazard occurring or reduce worker exposure to that hazard. Using the workplace violence example again, work design control measures could include increased numbers of staff on the floor, or limiting the number of customers in the workplace and the presence of security guards and CCTV. These measures will reduce the likelihood of a customer becoming violent. Staff can also alternate between customer-facing and administrative or warehouse tasks to reduce their individual exposure to customer violence. Administrative controls should be established to support the work design control measures. Continuing our example, policies and procedures defining minimum staffing levels and the ratio of time each staff member is expected to undertake customer-facing tasks will help to ensure that those control measures are implemented and maintained over time. Staff can also be trained in how to recognise signs that a customer may become aggressive and how to de-escalate a situation to prevent violence. Other forms of training that provide workers with coping skills to deal with workplace stresses, such as resilience training and mindfulness activities, are largely equivalent to the personal protective equipment level of control. While this type of training can be helpful, it should never be the only control measure in place to manage psychosocial risk.